everybody, and welcome to this edition of Let's Talk About It. I think you guys are going to really enjoy my guest today. My guest is Keva Horry. She's the former wife of NBA player Robert Horry. She's written a book entitled The Glamorous Sacrifice. You guys don't want to miss this show. It's an interview that I've been waiting on. It's very personal, it's very intimate, and it's very authentic. I look forward to seeing you guys in just a moment as you watch this edition of Let's Talk About It with my awesome guest, Miss Keva Horry. Hello everyone, and welcome to this edition of Let's Talk About It with my very special guest today, Miss Keva Horry. Keva is the former wife of NBA player Robert Horry. Keva, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's always oh man, no, thank you for being here. It's always a pleasure to see you, needless to say.
Same here.
Yes, yes. Keva has a brand new book, you guys. It's entitled Glamorous Sacrifice. Keva, tell me a little bit more about Glamorous Sacrifice.
Well, Glamorous Sacrifice is a memoir, and I've written it in honor and to pay homage to my daughter, who died last year with a very rare chromosome abnormality, 1P36 Deletion Syndrome. So it was more or less about sharing my experience, but also spreading awareness about the chromosome abnormality, which we are still in search of answers, and encouraging medical researchers to keep
do
plugging
further studies
away.
and trying to figure out what it was.
Exactly.
And they, say the name of it again.
1P36 Deletion Syndrome.
Okay, and that's a syndrome that Ashlyn, which was Keva and Robert's daughter, the condition that she had, and it was a very rare genetic chromosome abnormality that was discovered when Ashlyn was born, and she was blessed to be here for 17 years.
17 years.
Right, she was blessed to be here for 17 years, and if I remember correctly, they didn't expect Ashlyn
They did not
expect
her to live past infancy.
Past infancy, but God allowed her to be with Keva and the family for 17 years, and not only that, but I personally had the pleasure of getting to know Ashlyn and being her photographer for nearly 17 years as well. And man, Ashlyn was just a wonderful kid. Always had a big smile on her face. You would know that she was happy because of her smile, you know, or even and very playful. Although she wouldn't talk, but she would. But you knew what she wanted, or you knew what she was feeling like based on her facial expression.
Exactly.
You know, and I remember those times. And you also have a son.
I do, Cameron Horry. He is 14 years old now. Turned 14 last week. 6 feet tall.
Wow. Okay, now where did he get his height from?
I don't know. It's I don't know. I married the Jolly Green Giant. I don't know. Go figure.
Might have a little bit to do with his daddy, huh?
Right, a little bit. Yeah.
So, Keva, tell me what's in store for you with Glamorous Sacrifice, with the book Glamorous Sacrifice.
What's in store? I really hope and pray that it touches the hearts and lives of families that are going through, if not the exact same thing that we went through, but similar.
Yes.
And I think the message transcends just a special needs child. I think it also touches on just being a parent, you know, the struggles that you have just day-to-day routines, and how monotonous they get, and mundane that they get, and you do grow weary, you know, at times, but you keep plugging away until, you know, each milestone is met, and you can share in those joyous moments.
Right. And I know that you gave birth to Ashlyn when she was, when you were 23 years old.
Right.
Yes. And so at the age of 23 and having Ashlyn, what was that like for you, being so young and having to figure all that out, Keva?
Scary.
In one word.
It sums it up in one word. Very scary. Not only scary from the standpoint of being a first-time mom, but compound that with a rare chromosome abnormality, which at that time they did not know. She wasn't diagnosed right away. I didn't get an official diagnosis till she was 14.
Are you serious?
I'm very serious.
And you know, I just always assumed that you just knew.
No.
whatever that was, until she was 14.
Till she was 14. Initially, at birth, all we knew was that she wasn't breathing properly.
Okay.
Then about 3 months of age, they came back and said, well, it's a partial deletion of her number 1 chromosome. So that's what we lived with for 14 years. And, I would go into certain doctor's offices and they say, what's her diagnosis? Partial deletion of number 1 chromosome.
Okay.
They're looking at me like, what?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's what we lived with for 14 years. And when we got the official letter in the mail from Baylor University, they, it just stated everything that I had lived for 14 years up until that point.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
I was like, well, they could have called and asked me.
Okay. They could give them a lot of information, huh?
Yeah.
So up until that point, I mean, I guess it's a very rare
It is.
thing. It's not very common.
1 in every 5 to 10,000 children are born with.
1 in every 5 to 10,000 children are born with. Wow.
And it's very important that awareness gets spread, not just to the general public, but also to the medical community as well. There's so many children that are being misdiagnosed as well as undiagnosed. So it's very important, and there are so many complications involved with this syndrome. And as with any syndrome, there are different variations with it. So Ashlyn was kind of on the lower end of that spectrum.
Okay.
And there are higher functioning children with it, so that grow up, to be adults and high functioning. And
is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So tell me this. What were some of the signs that you may have seen early on that led you to feel like something wasn't quite right? Or was that right at birth that you knew that?
It was right at birth.
Was it?
It was right at birth.
Okay.
They literally, once I had her, I bonded with her for just a few moments.
Okay.
When they took her away to clean her up, they kept her for several hours and came back and let me know she wasn't breathing right. So.
Is that right? Wow. Now, I do know from reading the excerpt in your book that your dad played a very important part in that, at that moment in time in your life. Tell me a little bit about Dad.
Oh my goodness. My dad was monumental to me. That is just the only way I could describe him. He has a big heart, very big shoes to fill, and I'm hoping that I'm doing him justice. He passed away 7 years ago, but I'm glad that he was there early on at that time because I really needed him to be there.
Yes.
But yeah, he was my big cheerleader. He was my rock.
Right. So often when we're going through different things and different challenges in life, it's such a blessing to have a parent or someone that you know is in your corner when you're dealing with circumstances and situations that you're just not accustomed to dealing with.
You're right.
So I counted a blessing that your dad happened to be there for you at that time.
Me too.
I remember in the book when you talked about walking into the room and just seeing a sea of white coats, and I guess that fear that set in, it made you just like, almost paralyzed you probably.
Oh yeah.
And I know you mentioned almost hyperventilating at that moment. So it's just good that your dad happened to be there at that time. Keva, I'm thoroughly enjoying our dialogue, and there's so much more dialogue to come. We're going to be back in just a moment with more of Let's Talk About It with my wonderful guest, Miss Keva Horry. Hello and welcome back to Let's Talk About It with my awesome guest, Keva Horry. Keva's here to talk about her book today, The Glamorous Sacrifice. There's so much more to this interview. You guys don't want to miss it. Keva, welcome back again to Let's Talk About It, baby.
Thank you.
Keva, I want to get right into this. Number one, being an NBA player's wife, having 2 kids. How did you balance life, handling all that? How did you handle all that? How did you balance it out? And with Ashlyn, how did you balance everything out? I would always see him like, Keva is awesome. You're running here, you're running there, you're taking Ashlyn to the hospital, you're watching over her. This is all stuff that I've seen myself. How were you able to balance that and stay sane?
My faith.
Bottom line, huh?
My faith, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would say I was always in balance. Because there's so much to juggle.
Yeah.
And our decision to stay here in Houston and use it as our home base helped a lot,
Okay.
as far as stability
Mhm.
and creating a network of support
Right.
and that support system. So it was really, really important and necessary
Mhm.
for me, um, who, as a natural nurturer and giver,
Right.
it's very hard to accept help from others, but
Yeah.
I had to learn how to do that.
Right.
And it was a definite test of my own faith, you know.
Mhm.
It's but it was necessary.
Right.
And I used it, and I appreciate all my friends and who have become my extended family
Absolutely.
here
Absolutely.
in Houston. Yeah.
And it's interesting because I want to say this with Cameron.
Mhm.
The times that I would be around, I would see how Cameron was with Ashlyn,
Mhm.
and it was just awesome. The way that Cameron would handle Ashlyn, and Cameron is actually
He
the
is.
baby brother,
He is.
but the love and affection that he would show to Ashlyn was just phenomenal. It was like he was her caretaker, and Ashlyn would hit him sometimes, and Cameron would just chokeholds everything, and Cameron could handle it, and it was just interesting how it never bothered Cameron, and he was very balanced with all that,
Mhm.
and I just have to commend you on raising a son that was so wonderful like that.
Thank
You
you.
know, because Cameron is an awesome kid.
He really is. I think that having a sister or sibling with special needs taught him lessons that I don't think I otherwise would have been able to teach him.
Hmm.
Um, he learned. He's a very compassionate kid. He's a very
And you
thoughtful
can see
kid.
that. You
Yeah.
can see that with Cameron.
And I think he learned that through Ashlyn. You know, they had their own unique bond.
Right.
They had their own unique communication
Mhm.
with each other. He never complained, even when she had him in a chokehold.
Right, right. And he never did. I mean,
never
I would see this happening, and I'd be like, and Cameron would be just as cool as a cucumber.
Right,
You know?
right.
Yeah.
He is. He's such a good kid. I couldn't. I'm not saying that just because he's mine, but
Right.
he's a special kind of guy.
Well, look at his mother.
Well,
That
I
says a
try.
lot about Keva. Definitely says a lot
Thank
about
you,
Keva.
thank you.
Keva, what's next for you with the Glamorous Sacrifice, the book?
Well, I'm doing the whole marketing circuit and
Okay.
promoting it and really trying to raise the awareness that I feel is necessary
Right.
for those out there who need it, and to make sure that they have what they need in place in terms of you know services, medical services. Having questions answered, and
Right.
I get phone calls and emails all the time.
Mhm.
What did you do for this? What did you do for that? And it's not by any means that I have all the answers.
Right.
This is my experience that I had for 17 years, and I can share that and share it in truth and honesty,
Right.
and take it from there. I wish that there had been someone there for me when Ashlyn was born. So I just feel that it is my divine assignment
Absolutely.
to walk this out and
Yes.
help those that need it.
You know, I've always felt like it was your divine assignment as well. I think you know that. Because of Ashlyn's existence, you have so much more life ahead of you because of Ashlyn's existence. And I say this often because Ashlyn's light is actually shining through you.
I feel that way too.
Ashlyn's light is shining through you.
She added more depth, if you will, to my purpose.
Yes.
And I'm understanding that now. I have never seen or experienced a more pure and innocent
Yes.
soul
Than Ashlyn.
than Ashlyn. And I'm very thankful that God chose me to be her mother.
Yes. 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 And you know what? God knows the propensity of what you can handle. And not everybody could handle what you have handled for 17 years and balance it out.
You know, I get that a lot. How did you do that? How did you, Ferrell, I look back now and Lord, how did I do that? You know,
You have to wonder yourself, right?
Yeah. But you don't think about it. That
You
was
just
my
do it.
daughter. You just do it.
You
Because
just
if I
do it.
thought about it, it wouldn't have gotten done. I'm sure. I'm very serious.
Right.
Ashley, we can stay in the bed today, baby.
Okay. Mama tired.
Right. Exactly. But no, I mean, there are things that had to get done, and you just do it.
Right.
You don't think about
Right.
it.
I think it's amazing because oftentimes we don't feel like we have the courage to overcome certain things or obstacles and challenges in our lives. But oftentimes when we're faced with those challenges, you know, and God will give us the strength to get on through that. And that's obviously what's taking place here. And I know that God has a greater purpose for Keva's life. And I've always told Keva this as it relates to Ashlyn, that she has such a greater purpose to, number one, to spread the word about it. She's going to be able to inform people and educate people about something that she knew little about at the age of 23 when Ashlyn was first born. And she has the platform as a former NBA wife that some people don't have. God knew what he was doing. And now she's written this amazing book called The Glamorous Sacrifice. Keva, you know, The Glamorous Sacrifice, we look at you and of course we see the glamour.
Thank you.
We certainly see the glamour, the beauty. You're a gorgeous woman. How did you come up with the title of the book, The Glamorous Sacrifice?
Actually, it happened in a dream. I didn't necessarily come up with it.
Okay.
You know how you have those dreams and they're just so real.
Yes.
That title is the only thing I remember from that dream, and that's been several years ago. But I had no idea that it would transform into a tangible book. I had no idea at the time.
Wow.
So I didn't know what Glamour Sacrifice meant. I didn't, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, that's how it
That's
came
how it
about.
came in. Okay. And I actually remember when we were talking and you told me the name of the book. And this was a couple of years back. And then we began the process of creating the image for the cover. And I couldn't say anything about it. I had to keep my mouth shut for 2 years now, or maybe 3 years.
4 years.
Oh, 4 years. So I had to keep my lips zipped about Keva's project all this time. But I was so excited about the project because I knew where she was going with it, and I also knew that it would be a blessing to other people that have experienced or that are experiencing what Keva is and has gone through. Keva, I just tip my hat to you. I tip my hat to you. I want you to stay encouraged and to continue to move forward in what you're doing because you're going to bless so many other people.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you too, I know it's a very rare chromosome situation. How many other people have already been diagnosed with this? Do you know?
Well, you know, I don't specifically in terms of numbers, but I do know that we're growing. We have a closed site on Facebook.
Okay.
And the numbers keep growing. There are people in Canada, kids in Canada. There's one from Japan, actually.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, they're all over. And this has really shown, like, wow. I mean, how does this happen?
Yeah.
You know, we don't know. And you, as a mother or the female in the situation, you have to wonder, I mean, is something wrong with me?
Naturally, yeah. You would naturally think that.
Right. So these are a special group of kiddos, and when I say special, I don't mean in terms of special needs, which they do have, but it's a very unique group of children, and they're so lovable and so. I mean, you're just really dealing with their souls, you know. I can't really explain it. I just know.
We were talking about the personality of the children. Tell me a little bit more about the personality, because oftentimes what for me, in my experience with Ashlyn, I learned about Ashlyn because of her facial expressions, or when she's excited. There were certain things that I could see.
Right.
So is this like a typical personality trait that you will see?
You know, for many, yes.
Okay.
For many, and as I said before, there's such a variation within the syndrome.
Okay.
There's some kids that are higher functioning.
Okay.
And then you have the ones on the lower end of the spectrum, where their medical issues are so severe, to where you don't really get to see their personalities because they require so much care.
Okay.
But with Ashlyn, I don't know. She was just a very unique soul.
Yes.
She was very unique.
Yes. Yes.
And although she was nonverbal, there was no question ever about what she wanted, what she
liked, what
what
she
she
didn't
liked.
like,
Exactly.
and yeah,
Exactly. So as her mom, I got to interpret her language, and we all know that even with communicating,
right.
when you're not saying anything, you're communicating.
There you go.
And I think it takes a special bond to really, really know the depth of that conversation.
Right.
So.
And I think that's the type of bond that a mother will only have with her child.
Right.
Because there are certain bonds that nobody can ever break.
You're right.
You know, and there's a certain understanding that a mother will have with a child forever. If you can be 900 years old and your mama still got a special.
You're right.
You know, you know
right.
your kid.
You're right.
You know your kid. Now, Ashton lived to be 17.
17.
Now, is that rare?
Actually, you know, the oldest, I'll say child, but she's
right.
a woman now, that I'm aware of is 47. We had no idea. Because for a while there were several people thinking that Ashlyn was the oldest. But now that, like I said, communication has grown, and who would have ever thought Facebook, thanks Mike, what's his name, Mark Zuckerberg?
Oh yeah, for creating Facebook.
For creating Facebook, and we're able to use it for this unique situation, you know, and it has brought people closer together, so that they're not thinking that they're the only ones, or I'm so alone in this, and and they're so isolated. So I'm very, very thrilled about that, and keeping in touch and connecting with people who really understand what they're going through.
Right.
So it's very important. I got a chance to meet a mother with she had 2 kids, a son and her daughter. I had one P36, and I'm so very, very glad that I got a chance to meet her this past summer, because Shelby, her daughter, passed away Christmas Eve.
Oh, wow.
And it's just lives and souls that you come in contact with that you just don't, had I never met her, or had I, you know, and she was searching me out for answers. And, well, what did you do when you did this? Or what did you do when Ashlyn did this? And, you know, so it's a blessing to be able to have people come to you. And like I said, I'm no authority on this. I'm still learning myself. And I will forever be in search of answers until the answers are given.
Are found, yeah.
So,
which is a part of your purpose.
Right.
Yeah, which is a part of your purpose. And again, so often when we go through different things, we don't always understand it.
You're right.
We don't always understand it when we're going through it. But there's always a greater purpose. And I think one of the most beautiful things that can happen in anybody's life is to discover what your purpose is. And through Ashlyn, a big part of your purpose has now been discovered.
True. Very true.
You know? When you go through moments, Keva, and I know you have quiet moments by yourself, and you have thoughts by yourself, how do you get through those moments when you miss Ashlyn or you think about Ashlyn? How do you get through those times?
Wow. You're going to try and make me cry. This past year was a very tough year because it was a lot of firsts without her.
Yeah.
What I learned to do was to let the tears flow.
Wow.
For 17 years, you know, like I said, the mundane routine of it all, from doctor appointment after doctor appointment, surgery after surgery, it wears on you. You don't have time to cry. You don't have time to really think that, you know,
because you're so busy.
I'm tired.
You're just moving.
Yeah. So I think I'm just now in my process of grieving, crying.
Yes.
And allowing that to happen.
Wow. And I think that's a beautiful thing that she's assessed within herself, to say when those moments happen, literally let it flow. You know, and a lot of times we fight tears and we fight back tears, but oftentimes the tears are a part of our healing process.
And cleansing, exactly.
And it's in the cleansing process, you know. And I think one of the beautiful things that you can always reflect on are the memories.
Oh, yes.
The wonderful memories, the times you got to laugh and play, and the things that you've been privy to see that not everybody will see with your child because of that special bond that you have. Man, we can talk about this all day long. I'm having such a wonderful time with you, Keva, like I knew I would. And there's so much more to come, you guys. Keva, tell me this. With the book, now, Glamorous Life.
Sacrifice.
Sacrifice. Glamorous Sacrifice. Now, you are, you know, I always tell you, I'll call you Cat Eyes. That's my name for Keva is Cat Eyes, because she's always, her eyes are always popping. She always just, that's just Keva. I mean, I don't know nobody but.
It's from a photographer's perspective.
But it's the truth. Y'all can see it for yourself. Y'all can see it for yourself. And you just hold it together good. You hold it together well, and you handle things. You know, and I'm sure a lot of this, if somebody could have told you, Keva, this is what your life would be like, and this is what you would experience, you could never have imagined these things that you've experienced in your life.
Not at all. And I definitely would not have agreed to take it on.
The choice was not yours.
There's a reason why God doesn't tell you things in advance, you know?
Might scare you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You know, He knows the end
from the beginning.
We are the ones that have to live from the beginning to the end. So
right,
we figured that out. And you're right. As time passes, I'm learning as things are revealed to me,
right.
The whys, you know.
Yes.
So I can appreciate that, but in the moment, it's very frustrating because
right.
you don't know. You just have to walk it out.
You have to walk it out. Have to walk it out. In reading your excerpt and finding out more about your book through my little investigations, I noticed that Vanessa Williams, former Miss America.
Miss America, yes.
Former Miss America,
yeah.
Vanessa Williams, is actually the person that wrote the foreword to Keva's book.
She sure did.
The Glamorous Sacrifice. Keva, how did that come about? I know you and Vanessa are friends.
We are. We're very
And
good.
so what did you just say? Hey, I need you to do this forward?
No, you know, there will be many, you know, people who speculate, you know, how you go get a celebrity to write your forward. Vanessa and I have a very unique relationship, and she ties into it because she's also a board member of Special Olympics.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and she's experienced
a lot of things that you've experienced.
That
being
I've experienced.
Former wife of NBA player.
Exactly. So we have a lot of things in common, and even right down to our lifestyles. She was holding her house down in New York, while I was doing the same thing here in Houston, while the guys were out playing, and entertaining the world. So.
Got you. Okay.
So I mean, you know, but yes, there are a lot of things that you wouldn't expect.
Right.
But
But that's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Gals,
yeah, that's fantastic. Keva, we're going to be back with more in just a moment. Let's talk about it with our wonderful guest, Keva Horry. Hello and welcome back to Let's Talk About It with Miss Keva Horry. Keva's written the book, The Glamorous Sacrifice. Awesome book. You guys have to get the book. Keva has such a great purpose in her life that is talked about actually in the book. You started a foundation called the Ashton Horry Foundation.
I did.
Tell me a little bit about that foundation, Keva.
I established it in 2008 in honor of my daughter. Of course, she was still living at the time.
Right.
But I started it initially to be a source of information for families who were searching for answers.
Right.
As was I when Ashley was born.
Right.
So as I said before, I don't offer a roadmap in terms of my experience. It's just sharing my experience to let people know that they're not alone if they're in this situation.
Right. Right. And it's always good to have a source of information when you're going through different things. So often you're at a loss. You know, when you're having certain experiences, like, I don't know anybody that's had this experience. You know, but the blessing here is that Keva has experienced it, and she set up a foundation so that people like you can get more information in case you have to deal with the same particular thing, which is a very rare thing. Keva, what's going on with the foundation right now?
Right now, we are constantly just raising awareness, and we're very active in the community. I live in Katy, and so we're doing a lot of local things, but we're looking forward to doing bigger and better things starting this year. So,
is that right? Okay. So how do people get more information about the organization?
AshlandHorryFoundation.org, and for for the book, the Glamorous Sacrifice, not the, I'm sorry, GlamorOusSacrifice.com.
Yes. This is Keva's book. It's entitled The Glamorous Sacrifice. Again, you don't want to miss this book. It's an excellent book. You guys got to get it. And they can go to
GlamorousSacrifice.com.
GlamorousSacrifice.com.
And for more information on the foundation, and as well as purchasing the book, Foundation.org.
.org. Okay. Keva, I know you spent a lot of time getting this book together. How long did it actually take you to write the book? And what was that experience like for you? Did you start and stop and start over because of different things that you were challenged with during that time?
I took a course of 4 years.
4 years?
4 years.
Yes. So in the course of writing the book, I'm sure you had to relive.
Every time.
Every time. Yes. And what was that like for you?
Very difficult. Very difficult, very emotional.
Yes.
And of course, the very last chapter was the hardest.
Had to be.
But a very cathartic experience, nevertheless. But I'm glad I did it.
Yes, yes. And actually, I think the book was pretty much written before, wasn't it? Completed before, or close to being complete?
I thought it was, yeah.
Oh, we thought the book had been completed,
God
actually.
had different plans.
But God had a different plan.
Right.
But Keva had practically written the book and completed it. And Ashton was still living at the time. And until her death, that was when the final chapter was written. I know it's been a very interesting and sometimes painful journey for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah, but you have survived. And another thing that I know about you, Keva, is that you are very well spiritually grounded.
I am. I try to be. No, I am.
Yes, and I know that personally. And I know that that's been, God, a big part of how you've been able to make it and to get through those moments and those challenges. Praying and on your knees, doing the things that you have to do. I'm looking forward to so much more from you. I know this isn't the end. This is just the beginning. There's so much more to come from Keva Horry. So you guys keep your eyes open for more of Keva Horry. Keva, what's next for you? Are you going on? You're doing a book tour, you said?
I am doing a book tour.
Okay.
The whole marketing circuit. I will see what doors are opened. And
right.
If not, law school is the next.
Law school is next.
Yeah.
But my gut feeling tells me that there's going to be a delay with the law school. My gut feeling tells me that.
Yeah, my mother tells me that too. I don't know.
Yeah. And if Mama said it and I said it, it's over.
That's it.
Because the Glamour Sacrifice is going to take Keva to places that she never even dreamed of, actually. And it's going to open so many more doors for her. She's also going to be doing some speaking engagements, too.
I am.
As a result of...
I don't have those dates yet, but that can be seen also on the events segment on the website.
On the website. On the website. And you know, when Keva and I had a conversation one day about this, I think I even mentioned to her, you will be doing speaking engagements. You will be in front of people talking. And it's so interesting to see all of it coming to fruition, you know? And again, I know there's so much more to come.
Thank you.
Yes. And we'll return in just a moment with more of Let's Talk About It with our guest, Keva Horry. Hello and welcome back to this edition of Let's Talk About It with my wonderful guest, Ms. Keva Horry. You guys have heard so much on TV, especially in these reality shows these days, what basketball wives and all the other stuff that's going on. But this is a real life basketball wife, Ms. Keva Horry. Keva, what are some of the misconceptions that you've seen that have been portrayed in media as it relates to basketball wives?
Well, let's just clarify that that certainly is not my reality. I think a lot of that has to do with Hollywood and ratings and
certainly,
definitely entertainment. But if some cameras were in my home every day, they'd be like, "This is the boringest show ever." All she does is go to the grocery store, doctor's appointment, school. But I think that I'm sure those ladies have their own things going on at home, outside of the cameras. But
right.
I feel like there are certain things that we need to teach each other as women, and certainly how to resolve conflicts or how to have healthy relationships and friendships are definitely a part of that.
Absolutely.
So having that said, I think every household is unique.
That's a good way of saying that.
And mine especially, you know, with a special
Yes.
needs child. So um, this is my reality.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
the wine drinking and jumping over tables,
Slinging
it's
bottles, hitting
not,
folk across the
you
head,
know,
all that stuff. Just that ain't that.
I
No.
no, don't have time for
That
that.
there you go. There you go. There you go. And you know what? In watching those shows, it's interesting because so many people buy into the belief that these are the things that basketball wives do. You know, and of course, watching it myself and having friends that are basketball wives, I know that it's so far from anything that's true, as far as the reality is concerned. And like yourself, you carry yourself with such class, such sophistication, such dignity. It's totally in contrast to what we see on TV. So it's great to get the opportunity to expose a real basketball wife on the show. Let's talk about it. I appreciate your transparency,
Thank you.
your authenticity, your ability to tell the truth, and to share the truth with the world through the gift that you have. I want you to keep on doing what you're doing. I wish you tons of success, and there's so much more ahead for you, Keva.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work, baby. I love you.
I love you too.
All right.
Thank you.
I just want to thank you guys for joining me on this edition of Let's Talk About It. I hope you've enjoyed the show just as much as I did with my special guest, Keva Horry, who's written the book, Glamorous Sacrifice. For more information and detail on the book and the show, you can contact us at Let's Talk About It 12TV at gmail.com. That's Let's Talk About It 12TV at gmail.com. Until next time, we'll see you then.